everybody, and welcome back to Out of Body, 31 Days of Halloween. Hope you guys are having a great day, night, or whatever time it is when you're watching this video. Today's video is just a story that I found online on Reddit that I want to read to you guys on camera. I wanted to change it up a little bit. I know I've done a lot of creepypasta narrations in the past, and I thought today I would just sit here and read to you guys. So, story time. This story is called My Friend Didn't Follow the Rules, Now He's Missing. So I thought it was pretty creepy. It's actually supposed to be a series, so hopefully I can read the rest of the series in future videos. But I'll definitely let you guys know on that. But I hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get right into this. My friend didn't follow the rules, and now he's missing. When I was younger, I lived in the Appalachian Mountains. There weren't many other children in my middle school, maybe about 150. It was called Arrow Junior High, AJH. I'm 47 now, and I didn't have many memories of the place until recently. The only reason I remembered was because an old classmate of mine messaged me on Facebook. She asked me if I remembered her old boyfriend, and my then best friend, who had gone missing in the 8th grade. At the time, I didn't really remember him. Since her message, I've been piecing together things about my old school. Honestly, I'm confused and just creeped out. Please hear me out. I think I know what happened to my friend. I entered AJH in 6th grade after attending Arrow Elementary School. You would expect a middle school to be different from the elementary school, and it certainly was. I shared all of my 6 classes with the friend I mentioned earlier. For the sake of the story, I'll call him Red. On the first day of 6th grade, we were sitting beside each other in homeroom. The teacher entered the room and immediately began to unroll a poster of rules we had to follow. Like any other school, there were rules like respect others, do not speak when the teacher is speaking, turn in your homework, etc. What unnerved Red and I were the rules that it followed. I can now remember them clearly. Number 1. If you see a shadow on the walls as you descend down the stairs, when you are alone, close your eyes, knock on the wall, and go back up the stairs. Rule number 2. If your back is turned while you are talking to someone and you turn around and they are not there, enter the nearest classroom with at least 2 other humans inside. Do not worry, it is not as it seemed. Rule number 3. If you are in the restroom and you hear a teacher's voice tell you to exit the restroom with no other reasoning, hide in the stall. Do not exit until the voice stops. Whew. Rule number 4. Do not enter a room that does not have a teacher inside. Rule number 5. If you are more than 10 minutes late for your first class, hide until the next bell rings. Rule number 6. Under no circumstances may you look outside the windows while inside the building. When I heard the rules, they terrified me. I never liked anything to do with horror or scares. Can't relate. Red thought I was an idiot for being afraid of the rules that were jokes to him. Many times I would catch him trying to sneak a peek through a window, but I always pulled him away. I myself only ever experienced the first 2 rules. In 6th and 7th grade, I had gone through Rule 2 12 times, each time following the rules exactly. The first rule only occurred once in the beginning of 8th grade. The problem was, I forgot to knock on the wall. The next morning, I woke up with scars down my arms. They looked as if I had cut myself, which I'd never done before. My parents saw, and they didn't believe my story. I was sent away to a facility for 3 months. The place only messed me up. The more important story happened later in 8th grade. One day in February, Red was 12 minutes late to homeroom. He hobbled into the classroom with blood dripping from his mouth and a puffy black eye. The teacher called his parents and told them he had gotten into a fight. That evening, he came to me and told me he had seen something chasing him that he couldn't make out. Red wanted to find it and identify it. I begged him not to. Of course, he didn't listen. The next week, he approached me and pointed into an empty classroom. Usually, the teachers shut and locked the doors, but on this day, they forgot. I grabbed onto his arm, but he shook it off. He took one step inside and toppled over in pain. He grabbed his leg that had stepped inside and screamed. Teachers rushed over and took him to the nurse. Then they locked the door. He didn't return to school for 2 weeks. He had shattered his leg and was in a walking cast. He came and confided in me what he had seen in the classroom. He told me that in the corner of the room, he saw what looked like a 6-foot-tall fetus with eyes gouged out of its head and awful jagged teeth. I could tell he wasn't lying. Red may have been a troublemaker, but he wasn't a liar. I begged him to stop. I cried for him and told him he was my best friend. He told me that I was only afraid because I was a girl. I punched him that day. That was the day he stopped talking to me. I still didn't want him to die, so I watched his endeavors. Except one day, he limped into class with his hand over his eye. He must have met the creature that called him out of the bathroom, as that was an endeavor I had no desire to watch. He removed his hand, and where his eye had been was a bloody pit. The teacher shrieked and carried him away. I assumed his parents wouldn't let Red return. However, they did. I watched as he talked to many people until the last one was gone when he turned to them. I ran to a classroom with the teacher inside. I watched through a window to the hallway as Red stood still. Red's body contorted strangely. He ran to the same room as I with 2 broken arms. After 4 weeks, he was back. Cast on his arms, a fake eye, and all. Against better judgment, that day he looked outside the building through the only possible way, the vents. He turned around and in a frenzy bumped into everything. In 2 days, we found out he was now blind. Somehow, he returned to school with an assistant to help him. I could tell I could not stop him. He was determined. Whew. And that's where it concludes for this leg of the story, so to speak. Hoping there's a part 2. I haven't checked yet, but I'm excited. I like this story. I think it's really, really good. I don't know. I just think it's different and interesting and creepy, and I guess I like stories that are set, especially, you know, creepy stories that are set in a school. I don't know why. I guess it's just the eeriness of like classrooms and hallways, especially when like it's an empty hallway or an empty classroom, or I don't know. It's just kind of weird, I guess, but I just think that's really interesting. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll be reading the other parts of the story here soon on my channel. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video for 31 Days of Halloween. I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!